Aries, oh my God. I was going to say Aries. Aries. Oh my God. I need some coffee, y'all. You know what? Did I eat? I didn't eat. So I need coffee and food. So, Aries, we decided to do, listen to me, because I always move in conjunct with my spirits, to do a reading on what could possibly be holding you back or holding you stagnant moving into 2020. So I decided to go ahead and do Tough Shit Tarot to kind of address any areas where there may be some additional baggage that maybe you've been working on. You've been trying to move forward. For some of you, you may not even know you have this baggage, but something to pinpoint your areas where there could be stagnation or a feeling of being stuck so that you can work on it and move it forward. So you don't have to deal with the same shit in 2020 as you did in 2019, because sometimes we just carry things from year to year to year, but we don't fix it. So Tough Shit is very direct, straight to the point. It's why I like it. It's one of these good tarot decks if you're going to do psychological readings, like why am I fucked up type of thing, because it tells you. But this is going to give you something to focus on to move you forward and hopefully make that transition into 2020 a lot more smoothly for you. So give me just a moment, Aries, and we'll see what we come up with. Aries, Aries, Aries. What do they need to let go of for 2020? Aries, Aries, Aries. What do they need to let go of, or what do they need to address to move into 2020, Spirit? All right, let's see what we got. Okay, the challenges you are currently facing are not actually your problem. Give yourself permission to let go and walk away. Your physical environment is cluttered and filled with old energy. Clean your home, remodel, or change the layout of your furniture in order to update to present time energy in the home. Okay. You're dissatisfied with the outcome of a recent decision. Things did not go quite as planned. Once you accept responsibility for your choices, you can forgive yourself, grow, and move on. Looks like a lot of you are going to be letting go and moving on. You have been overindulging in food and drink in order to avoid your feelings. Those uncomfortable emotions will only continue to build unless you seek healthy emotional release. Your current friendships are no longer serving you. Your feelings of being out of place are real, and it's time to seek friendships where your needs are met and you can be yourself. Despite your best efforts to pretend otherwise, your emotions are bubbling to the surface and are begging to be heard. If you can identify the emotions and express them in a healthy way, you may just make it out of the situation alive. Try seeing a therapist, writing, or meditating. Be careful not to burn any bridges by inappropriately taking your feelings out on loved ones at this time. All right, Aries, let's get into it. Let's go card number 1. The challenges that you are currently facing are not your problem, which means that a lot of you are being distracted by issues that you don't have to deal with. This could be people bringing you into their drama, or you deciding to put yourself in drama that you don't have to do. Now, you got to be really honest with yourself. For some people, there is this feeling of needing to be needed. But I feel like for some of you, you're putting yourself in situations that really are kind of holding you back, or either causing you to take the brunt of somebody else's issue or drama. Be really careful that you don't step into something thinking that you're going to help, and then next thing you know, everybody else is pulled back and now you're the problem. You're the center of the problem. Be really careful that you're not allowing yourself to be used as a scapegoat for people around you, because it's showing for a lot of you, you don't have to be in this situation. There's no attachment to it, whether this is family, a relationship, or a friend. Some of you are putting yourself or imposing yourself in situations that you are not supposed to be in. Maybe this person needs to grow. Maybe they need to go through some things. So you can't save everybody. And I see discernment or a lack of using discernment when it comes to things like that, Aries. So you kind of have to be like, okay, look, ask yourself, whenever I get involved with a situation, the moment that before I post something or make a comment, I'm like, is it needed? Is it something that I need to say? Do they need me to come in and do this? 9 out of 10, no. I'll delete the comment or I won't say anything. And sometimes people will come to me and it was like, well, you could have diffused the situation by da 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 da. No, I could not, because it wasn't my place to be in it in the first place. So be really careful that you're not stepping over people's feet or overstepping boundaries because you want to help, but you don't need to do it. Especially if it comes back and bites you in the ass, because Spirit is saying for a lot of you, you're getting caught up in stuff that is really not your stuff. And it may cause some type of emotional pain or miscommunication. So if it doesn't feel like you need to address it, don't address it. If you're not involved in it, don't become involved in it. Now, for some of you, your physical environment is cluttered or filled with old energy. I think it was Tata Candelo that told me a few years ago, piles of stuff attract spirits, sometimes low vibrational spirits, which means that if you keep a lot of magazines or you're just moving things from side to side. For some people, this is a hoarding situation where they just overspend. I'm kind of getting like a shopaholic vibe where it's almost like somebody is depressed and they're trying to make themselves feel good by buying things. You may be having too much coming into your home, too much stuff that you have to deal with that is starting to overtake your environment and it's making your energy stagnant. Sometimes I call it the demon of hoarding, where you're just like, okay, I need, I need, I need. I even struggle with that sometimes. And I think that's why we had that conversation where it was like, you need to clean out your environment so the energy can flow. And it actually did. For some of you, you might want to look into some type of feng shui, but it is showing if you are keeping pockets, say laundry, books, magazines, or you're piling things into corners or whatever, it's time for you to clear that out. And if you're like me, get a big trash can and just start throwing stuff in it. You don't need to take it into 2020, especially if you haven't used it this whole year. Throw it out. It's like having that big box in the garage full of stuff. Oh, I'm going to reread this book, or I'm going to reuse this item. And it's been a year, 2 years. Some people have storages where they have stuff in there that has been in there for 4 or 5 years that they're making payments on, but you're not using it. Sell it, throw it away, because it's showing that the energy is stagnant and it's going to hold you hostage. Now, for some of you, there could be an overindulgence in food. This is emotional. I feel like, Aries, some of you are dealing with issues that go off of emotion, not being happy in a situation, not feeling comfortable in a situation. And I think for some of you, you're trying to make your environment or make things easier for you to deal with that. There may be conversations that need to be had where you need to talk to people and say, look, this is what I feel, because it is showing for some of you, you're not sharing your emotions. This card is saying that you're pretending to be okay. You're pretending to be comfortable in situations or environments that you're not. And it's showing that your emotions are starting to bubble over. For some of you, this is going to play out with food. You're either going to start eating for emotional comfort. Some, this may be drinking a little bit of wine, adding a little something something to your tea or your soda to kind of help you get through a situation. For some, I'm getting addictions, which could be sexual addiction, shopping addiction, food addiction, but it's to make yourself feel better. If you're dealing with something like this, you need to go ahead and look at it clearly and figure out what is the origin. Why am I doing this? Why do I feel like I need to make a pot of macaroni and cheese to make me feel better? What's making me feel bad? Why do I feel the need to go spend $100 on stuff that I'm not going to use to make me feel better? What's making me feel bad? So you got to kind of go back to the origin of what's causing the behavior. Now, for some of you, you may feel like, this is okay. This is what I do. If you feel comfortable with it, do it. But I feel like for a lot of you, there's a lot of weight gain. There's a lot of clutter that's taking up your environment that's starting to make you feel uncomfortable now. Where Spirit is saying now you have to address it. You have to do something to go ahead and clear it, because if you don't, you may find yourself 30 pounds overweight at the end of the year and not happy with it. You may find yourself living in a little box because your whole house is being overtaken by things that you just keep purchasing. So you have to come back to the origin and figure out, why am I not happy? Because stuff is not making me happy. Food is not making me happy. It's a band-aid. It's temporary. So what needs to be fixed? For some of you, with card number 3, you're dissatisfied with the outcome of a recent decision. It didn't go the way you wanted. Some of you may have done something that you thought was going to get you a certain outcome. This could have been moving to an environment that you thought was going to be better for you. It's not. Some of you could have been involved in a relationship that you thought was going to make you happy, but it did not. I feel like there's this thing of somebody settling for an environment or people or situations because of decisions that they made, and now they feel trapped. And it could be why there is this need to fill this space up with things that make you happy or make you feel good. But you got to make sure that it's not overtaking you, because what it is it's filling in voids, but it's really not solving your problem. It's not making you happy. So you got to figure out the origin of why and deal with it. And Spirit is saying, be honest. Don't use distractions. For some of you with card number 5, your current friendships are no longer serving you. Your feelings of being out of place are real. You're not connecting anymore. There may be friendships that are ending. You could be going in one direction, a person could be going in another. Let it happen, because it's showing that this energy is not supporting you anyway. It's not moving you along. So for some of you, you're coming to the conclusion that you're going to be walking away from people in your life. And there's also changes in your environment that need to happen. Some of you are there could be this need or codependency on material things, but they're not really making you happy. So we got to figure out why there's a need to hold on to that, because it's showing filling voids. But it's because you don't want to deal with the issue or the origin of the problem. And if you keep doing this, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be in a situation where there is this this place where you feel comfortable, because it's showing that you're making yourself feel uncomfortable. A lot of this is with emotions, needing to say some things, needing to talk. And you could have people in your life where you don't feel like you can freely express yourself. So you're holding a lot of things in. And it's causing you to kind of settle. But it's also with card number 6 bubbling inside of you, where you may start taking things out on people that you're not really upset with. It's almost like having a bad day at work and then coming home and hollering at your spouse because the food is warm, or you don't like the way the lights are on in the house. You're not really upset about that. You're upset with the origin, what set you off. But for some of you, you're kind of glazing over that problem and dealing with other things. You're taking it from there. It's like, you know what? I know Billy Bob made me upset at work, but I'm going to go home and holler at Melissa because I can't say what I need to say to Billy Bob. Now, some of you, because of emotion, you may feel like, especially being a fire sign, that it may take you over a certain point. But Spirit is saying you can communicate your thoughts. You can communicate what you need to say without blowing up, without it being explosive. The problem is you have to catch it before it reaches that point. And for some of you, you're using all this stuff to fill in voice to kind of put on top of this. But eventually it's going to erupt if you don't really start dealing with what it is that you're unhappy about. Buying new furniture, buying new clothes, temporary fix. Eating a really good meal, temporary fix. Because some of you have to keep going back to that. It's almost like an addict being addicted. My mom's a shopaholic. She has stuff in her closet that still has the tags on it. Purses still has the tags on them. We're talking Michael Kors, designer stuff, Coach purses, Coach bags that still have the tag on it. So that moment of purchasing something that made you feel comfortable, as soon as you put it in your closet, then it's over with, because now I got to go back and buy something else to fill that void again. And then at the end of the year, we got a ton of stuff that needs to be thrown away because it's stagnant. You're looking around and it's like, how did I get here? Same thing with food, you know, eating and making yourself feel good. And then at the end of the year, if you're like me, packing on an extra 25, 30 pounds and being like, oh shit, now I gotta work this stuff off. I gotta deal with what the origin was. What caused me to eat this food? And for me, overworking, not getting enough sleep, not really managing my time effectively this year put me in a position where I'm sitting behind a desk all day just eating and snacking and doing readings, eating, snacking, doing readings. And the thing about it is, there's nothing wrong with that, but I didn't have to have the snacks, the honey buns, the potato chips. I could have been eating celery and fruit and things like that. So I have to be accountable. I have to be accountable. I know what the origin is. So next year I have to be very mindful of how I manage my time. I have to be more mindful of what I put in my body if I don't want to have to come out the end of gaining another 30 pounds, which I don't want that to happen. So for some of us, we definitely, we got to be honest with ourselves. We got to deal with the origin. Once we deal with the origin, then we seem to move forward. It's showing for a few that distractions, we're throwing distractions in because we don't want to deal with things that need to be dealt with. You can only do that for so long, because eventually either the problem gets bigger or it will explode. So for a few, it looks like if you don't get this situated this year, you're moving into 2020, and you may end up losing some relationships because of your anger, your temper, your frustration, because you're not happy with the way some things are going in your life, and you have power over that, Aries. Nobody else is holding you back. There's nothing in your cards that are showing that you're being held back by anybody else. Challenges that you're currently facing are not your problem. Let go, move on. You don't have to fix other people's stuff. Let it go, move on. You're dissatisfied with the outcome of a recent decision. Forgive yourself, grow, and move on. Let it go. You're uncomfortable with emotions that continue to build up unless you seek a healthy release, which means that you're allowing emotions, unresolved feelings, conversations that needed to be had, things that needed to be expressed. You're allowing them to build up. So we got move on, release. And for some of you, you may need therapy. It's showing writing, meditation, for some therapy, a spiritual counselor, or either some type of psycho analyst, or I just get needing somebody to talk to, somebody that you can be honest with and let things out. This could be a good friend. Some of you, the person that you need to talk to may be the person that you need to let go of. It may be, we need to have a talk. It's not working for me anymore. I'm not moving in the same direction with you anymore. I don't want the same things that you want anymore. So I need to let this go. I need to release you. So for some of you, it doesn't necessarily have to be love. This could be a family member. This could be a friend. Some of you are holding on to things that really are not making you happy. And there's no reason. There's no reason to do it. It's showing that you have to be honest. You need to be really clear with your emotions. And you need to let that out. There's this thing of not wanting to be vulnerable. But the key to that is finding somebody that you can be vulnerable with. And for some of you, you may have to pay someone to go to their office and explore what it is that needs to be released, what you're holding on to. Because there's an obsession with things, but the obsession is only there to mask the problem that you don't want to deal with. And for a lot of you, you know that to deal with this problem, you're going to have to walk away from something. And a few of you don't want to do it. But if you don't do it, you're going to bring it into 2020. And there's more frustration. There's more issues with money management, overspending, more issues with addiction, because you're medicating, self-medicating with things, but you're not really fixing the problem, the origin. You have to go back to the origin, Aries. If you can do that, if you can work on it and you can release it and walk away from it, it really is going to set you free. You're going to feel like there's a weight lifted off your shoulder. Because right now I get this. And it's like you're piling on stuff onto you so that you don't have to look up and deal with it. But it's time to shake it off. Take the weight off. Let it go. And it's showing you need to seek a healthy release. And you may need somebody to help you do that, guide you to it. Don't be ashamed if you need it. Therapy to me was the best thing, money well spent, because I needed somebody to help me learn how to address the problem and take the weight off my shoulders. Self-imposed weight, ways of thinking, things that were holding me back that I did to myself. Overeating, emotional eating. You know, we all have our vices. We all do. But it's like you got to figure out why. Why do I do what I'm doing? And when you figure out that why, that's your origin. Fix it and you're going to see things change in a big way. I promise you, I've been there. And I know how it feels when you realize what the problem is and you fix it. It's not going to happen overnight. Some of you are going to have to chisel at it a little bit. Some of you, it may take you into 2020, which is fine. The whole thing is now, if you can see the problem and the origin, you can fix it. You can fix it. So be open to the clarity that could come from either allowing yourself to be vulnerable, talking to someone, or if you already know what the problem is, starting to peel back the layers, one layer at a time, and work on it. I'm going to do this week or this month until I get to the end. And hopefully by the time you make it into the end of next year, you don't have to bring any of that with you into the following year. The following year, you're just going to go with it. You're going to go with it. I feel like such a big release coming for you guys. Such a big release, but you got to deal with the problem. All right, Aries, I love you guys.